All right, family, let's talk some business, okay? Let's get to know each other again. Let's talk some cash and a lot of other things, okay? Very, very important. The Wisconsin Supreme Court ain't just some ivory tower clique. They're in your pockets. Taxation and spending, they're calling shots that hit your bank account. Take this. A 2024 ruling greenlit a tax hike on a small biz. Boom. Your corner storage prices jump. That's you paying more for milk, film, or flip it. Courts blocks a spending cut, and suddenly your property tax bills got extra zeros to it. Sarah, Steve out there, you are feeling it. Steve, you mad yet? Then there's biz regulations. Court says, nah, roll back on the labor laws and rules. Wages stay flat, goods get pricier, or they may loosen up. And your boss, well, he cuts the corners. Hope you like cheap coffee. Real talk though. I've seen some brothers in Iraq guarding Humvees tighter than these justice who guard corporate vibes. You know, property rights. They rule on the eminent domain. Next thing you know, your grandma's house is a parking lot for some developer's dream. It happened in Milwaukee, 2023. Court said public good. Trump's your deed. Where's the justice there? That ain't abstract, fam. And it's your hustle that we're talking about. Every ruling's a ripple effect. Taxes up, rent spikes, grocery stain. I'm sitting here, a vet pension barely stretching it, thinking, who's fighting for us? Chaos fighters. You know this grind. Courts is absolutely playing a chess with your bread. Checkmate is all on you if you are watching this. Now, but hold up though. Ain't all doom. We're going to circle back to this later, so once again, Sarah, are you feeling it? Steve, are you feeling it? Slow down. Okay? We got to slow down here. So, once again, I'm going to get into all that and more. So, I'm going to get into all that and more in this whole debacle. But first, I want to talk about something that maybe many people haven't really kind of been paying attention to, and that's that of Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, and Mr. Elon Musk. There's rumor buzzing around, and it may not be a rumor, it may be just a tumor. And that's exactly how President Trump is starting to feel about the tech mogul, who looks like he's a political liability. He hasn't been the most popular person since Donald Trump announced him to be part of his cabinet. Elon Musk could be stepping back soon, in the coming weeks. We don't know. From his current role as governing partner, the ambiguous cheerleader in the Washington hatchet man. So the president, he remains pleased with Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency Initiative, but both men have decided in recent days that it will soon come to an end. He may have to return back to his businesses and take on more of a supportive advisory type role to Trump's insiders. And who would have thought that this evolving relationship would take this type of turn? Everybody was kind of gung-ho about making sure that the government is spending our money where it needs to be. But then we have a lot of proponents and opponents, proponents and opponents, who say otherwise, who say I don't want him looking into my social security number. I don't want him checking my credit. I don't want him looking at what I'm got going on because he has all these secrets and then the conflict of interest, blah, 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 blah. Now, I understand, and then we got the tariffs on the other hand, people don't like the word tariffs nowadays, but yet and still, here we are. Here we are. What do we do with it? What do we want to do? Do we just want to run and keep on screaming, holding up our signs and waving our hands in the air? Or do we want to just wait and see what happens? Why not pray? Why not pray for our president? Why not pray, that the tariffs does not hit us hard? Why not we just look at this thing as a transition, just as the Trump-Musk relationship from a month ago, they were allies, predicting that Musk was here to stay and that Trump would find a way to maybe blow past that 100-day to 130-day time limit. No watch today. Yeah, the transition. The insiders are saying that this may come to an end. And just like many other things that may come to an end, speaking of the tariffs, they may come to an end, because maybe there may be a change of heart. Maybe Trump may say like, this is not working. Maybe he may end up on the unpopular side. And yeah, we found that out with the Wisconsin election. Okay, this most recent Wisconsin election, when now we have a liberal majority in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. On to that. So let's pivot. Education and health. How does this affect education and health when we bring in a more liberal majority on this Wisconsin Supreme Court? They got their hands in both of it. The school funding. Did you know that? School funding. They ruled last year that districts with broke tax bases get craps and scraps. Okay? Scraps and craps. So, what does this mean? Your kid's classroom got 40 heads, say. One teacher, no books. The rich burbs, on the other hand, new laptops. Steve, your little man's fighting for a desk while some judge, not jug, sips coffee in Madison. Special education. Court cut funding mandate. Kids with needs get left in the dust. I've seen vets, the kids of vets, struggle. Same vibes, different war. Curriculum's running wild too. Court backs a law pushing patriotic, lessons as my phone rings. Your teens learning what they want and, and whatnot and what's real. So truth's taking hits. Now healthcare. What about healthcare access? They upheld a Medicaid gap. Sarah, you're waiting like 6 months now for a doc while premiums bleed you dry. Think about that for a second. Now, the environmental regulations, what about that? Is that all good? What do they not got their hands on that too? Well, guess what? The court rolls back clean water rules. Your tap water is brown, your lungs choke. And public safety. Yeah, they're going to loosen that sentencing. The chaos creeps closer to your block, all right? And this ain't no theory. I have breathed the bad hat, the bad Iraq award, bad dad. I have breathed that dust before. And then the system seemed to fail. Courts flexing their power over your heir, your doctor, your kid's shot at a future. It's urban survival. But these judges, they walk your streets, but they're shaping them. Okay? You feeling trapped yet? Good. Stay woke. Because we ain't done yet. Next up, where's God in this mess? All right? Where is he? And before we get into that, I can think back to a day or two ago or year ago when my kids were in the MPS school system, and they were reading below their proper levels. As bad as I wanted to blame the teacher, I had to really take a more clear insight into what was really happening. We got kids that's coming from impoverished neighborhoods where crime is rampant, where like they can't even find food because they live in food deserts. And the tap water, not good because they got lead piping issues in Milwaukee. Well, they're all over the country. There's lead pipe issues. Look at Flint, Michigan. Look at what's happened there. And these kids are, they're exposed to domestic violence issues, or maybe getting abused themselves, sexual assaults, all type of things. And then they bring all them troubles to school. And instead of the teachers focusing on being teachers, they turn into counselors and they turn into parents, parents that like are in the classroom. So that's what's happening. And we got the Supreme Court judges who are in charge of mitigating all this. So, all right, family, let's get so deep about this, because this is really close to home for me. The Wisconsin Supreme Court, they throwing punches. Your wallet, schools, the health, but where's God in all of this? Well, the 89th chapter of Psalm, verse 14 says, justice and righteousness are the foundation of your throne. And that hits, brothers and sisters. I was in Iraq, convoy balloon park, PTSD screaming at me. Jesus grabbed my scattered soul. The systems, they will fail. Courts will flex. But faith's got to be your anchor. These justices ain't God. They are human. All playing power games. But you are a chaos fighter. Court hikes your taxes. Lean on Philippians 4:19. My God will supply all of your needs. School's broke? Well, if your kid's school is broke, Proverbs 22:6 says, train them up right. It's your responsibility. Even when the systems don't. If the healthcare is fighting back against you, well, Psalm 30 and 30 in verse 2 says, I cried to you and you healed. Faith ain't a fix-it-all wine or wand. Wine sounds good too, because you're gonna need some wine with this chaos. But the wand analogy of the faith that you can just wave a magic wand and it's all going away. Faith is actually the fire that you need to keep swinging. Redemption, fam, and redemption is absolutely real. I've seen brothers rise from their ashes. Court can steal that. You want to fight this? Show up. Show up to the public hearings. Show up to the amicus briefs. Holler out. Know the game. Know the cases that hit the court. Know the justices who debate, and know when the rulings drop. Stay woke. Track the news. Dig the legal sites. Faith says we don't quit. We rise. Jesus flipped the tables. Time we flip despair into action. That's the gospel, family. Hope is absolutely a weapon. So as we wrap this thing all tight and spark some action into you, some more action to you, and bless you on out, I want to say this. Okay? I'm signing off. Me, Marcus Hart. Wisconsin Supreme Court's more than headlines, okay? If you're upset about how the election results turned out, it's your life. It's your grind. It's your fight. They are taxing your hustle, starving your schools, gambling your health. But faith keeps on swinging. Key takeaway here, the truth is messy, the systems blend, but God's got us all. Chaos fighters, get in this, drop Justice Lives in the comments. Tell me how this hits your block. Smash that like button, share this with your crew. Let's wake them up. Subscribe now. We're chasing 10Ks in views every month, and I need my tribe locked in. Hit up Marcus-Hart.com, if you want a special chaos fighters prayer, and that's going to be free gas for your gasoline tank to your soul. We're going to drop next on Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. There's more fire coming. I'm praying over all of you. Peace, strength, Jesus remix your chaos. Many blessings, peace, and lots of love. We are out.